this computer. So hello and welcome to the 4th episode of the Flawed Therapist podcast. And today I'm interviewing not just one, but two amazingly and beautifully flawed therapists. So welcome. Thank you for coming. Fleur Farish Edwards and Charlotte Farish Edwards practice together as Two Birds Therapy. Is that correct? Two Birds Therapy.
Yeah.
In Lancashire and online. They're both person-centered creative arts therapists, and Charlotte is also the editor of the Creative Counsellors new journal, and Fleur is a lecturer and supervisor. So lots of accolades, and I know you a little bit, and I love you dearly. And I will mostly be asking questions that will not let you boast about all your achievements and talents. So I'll give you a little bit of time at the beginning to say anything else you want to say about your practice, or anything you're proud of, anything you love about being a therapist, and then it'll be all downhill from then. So maybe, Charlotte, do you want to start?
Yeah. In terms of what I love about my practice, I think is the flexibility of it and that being able to do what I really feel passionate about, which is working creatively in therapy. And I'll probably talk later about my sort of past career, and having that freedom and that flexibility is just a joy, I think.
Oh, you used to be a teacher. I forgot to
Yes.
mention
Yeah.
that. And yeah, do say more.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a teacher for 18 years. So to come from that into this, is there are similarities, but also a lot of differences.
Okay, thank you, Charlotte. And Fleur, what about you? What do you like about it? What's good about it? What's your best achievement? Whatever you want to say on that theme.
What I love about my job is that I feel like, I love the fact that my life is like a jigsaw. So I've got all different puzzle pieces that come together that create my week. So I see clients, supervisees, I teach students, and I also all the other in between bits as well. And I love music. I sing in a choir, so that brings me a lot of joy, and I'm very kind of, bouncy and joyful in what I bring to all those different spaces. And I love it.
That's a great variety. I can really relate to that myself. What I haven't mentioned, that apart from working together, you're also a married couple, which might bring some interesting nuances to this interview, as I may well ask you at some point, what do your nearest and dearest think about you and your flaws? So I'll give you time to think about that. So, so what, aside from all the beautiful and exciting and wonderful stuff about being a therapist, what do you find is not so glamorous? What is hard? And whoever would like to start, and we're going to have an interesting experience of people talking over each other, no doubt, at some point. So just pop in. What's hard about being a therapist, and maybe what's hard about working together as well?
I think for me, what is, because I qualified a year ago, so building private practice, and I think not take it personally when the clients haven't come flooding through the door as I hoped that they would, and to not see that as a rejection of me, or to kind of be a bit more balanced about that. I think that's been difficult, and I guess all the admin around that, and the having the confidence to put myself out there, and to believe that people might want to come to have therapy with me.
That's quite a big deal, isn't it? Putting yourself out there, like, look at me, here I am, I'm here to support you, to offer you creative listening space. And then they don't come, or they don't come in droves as we might anticipate. So there may be a bit of a sense of rejection, or a lot of a sense of rejection sometimes.
I think, yeah, sometimes, and also kind of balancing that with being ethical and not. I've had sort of people say, well, just phone them or contact more aggressive marketing, and that really doesn't fit with me or what I want to create for Two Birds Therapy. So doing it in a way that feels ethical, and but also putting myself out there. I think that is that challenge and that self-belief as well.
So it feels like a bit contradictory, kind of being able to
Mm.
market yourself, but not in a way that's aggressive. So it's hard to find that balance.
Yeah, and it's a whole skill that isn't taught on counselling courses that you kind of let out into the world, and you have to figure your own way in doing that.
Yeah. Thanks, Charlotte. So, Fleur, what do you find hard? What's not so glamorous? I know you've got lots of experience. Am I right in that you're president of your association? Is that right?
Yeah, chair of PCE Europe, yeah, which is a
Yeah.
European organisation for counselling and psychotherapy.
Yeah. Wow.
Um,
So you've got lots of notches there.
yeah,
So what's hard? What's still hard
I
for you?
think still hard, as much as I enjoy the variety and the lots of different ways that I'm able to spend my time doing, it's hard to not just focus on my client work. And I'm a bit envious of Charlotte sometimes when she's doing the client work, and it's like, I want to do more of that. And then my students are all sort of in practice, and I do feel, yeah, like I'd like to do that more, because I think, yeah, my client work is the one that I spend my least time doing, I guess, to allow space for the other stuff. And then sometimes I kind of have a bit of imposter syndrome. I'm teaching it and I'm kind of supervising it, but actually, can I still do it myself? Yeah. And, I've got a few, clients, and yeah, yeah, there's that little niggle.
Hmm. So you're doing a lot more other work, as in kind of supervising and teaching and
Mm.
probably administrative stuff for the association.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you might have forgotten how to do it by now, or at least that can be
That's how it feels
yeah,
sometimes. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, you mentioned imposter syndrome, and I do find that even really, really experienced people with decades of experience can still feel that.
Mm.
And you want to say a few more words about that? What's that like to feel kind of, am I good enough? Do I know what I'm doing? Am I going
Yeah.
to be found out?
I know, and I'm doing it on such a public stage a lot of the time as well. So it almost shines a spotlight on this, am I good enough? Kind of thing. And as much as I know sort of how to help others, try and reflect differently on the idea of being an imposter, it's still there's still that kind of I don't know, lump in my throat sometimes, and sort of feeling in my chest that am I am I doing all right? Am I doing good enough? Am I doing right by my client?
There's still quite a lot of self-doubt despite
Mm,
your years of experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I
What
think
about
I don't know. I think that's I like to tell myself that it's humbling, so I'm not kind of thinking I'm the most amazing therapist.
are you not?
Maybe I am. I should know what I'm doing by now. But yeah, it's still definitely there.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Fleur. Charlotte, in terms of the imposter syndrome, can you relate?
I think I have it almost from the other end, or I feel that I should be more humble because I'm so recently qualified. And sometimes I look at some of the other things that I'm doing, for example, editing the Creative Council's journal and emailing people whose books I've read. And I think the imposter syndrome comes in there, thinking, who am I to be doing this? Or we're presenting next week at the World Conference. It's like, who am I to be standing up there and presenting? But there's been something quite, I don't know, exciting about just say, oh, we'll just do it and see what happens. And but yeah, there is imposter syndrome with that as well. And I went back to my college a couple of weeks ago and said all the things that I'd done since I left a year ago. And part of me, I was quite shocked at the list of things that I've done. But also thinking a year ago, I was sitting there with the students, and yeah, I think that's where sometimes the imposter syndrome comes.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't feel it's such a bad thing because whatever is keeping us humble, I think maybe it does make us a bit safer in my imagination as we are able to question ourselves and doubt ourselves. Hopefully, we don't think, oh, I'm bee's knees and I'm the very best and I know exactly what I'm doing 100% of the time. Okay, maybe only 99% of the time. So yes, I hear that, but it can be, in my experience, it can be quite painful to think, oh, what if people find out I'm a bit shit? I don't
I
know
think
if that.
as well, as you were saying that, I was just reflecting on, because we're person-centered at the core, and that idea of not being the expert. I think for me that sometimes keeps me more grounded. It's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to be human and not the expert.
Okay, so that really helps. And you also offer creative interventions as well, which again I think can keep us humble because we don't always have to get into the nitty-gritty of the content of human experience. We can just be within the metaphor. But it can also, well, I'm talking for myself, it can also make us feel, oh, I'm a creative therapist. So much better than blah, 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 blah.
And we were sort of talking, weren't we, Charlotte, in preparation for coming, and we were just sort of saying, what kind of things, might we want to talk about and stuff, and that, yeah, that's something around. We know the real benefit of creativity and working creatively in therapy, and I think you were saying, weren't you, Charlotte, there's some sort of thoughts around that. Not wanting to impose, but we'd know how good it is.
Yeah, I think for me, more than anything, the working creatively with art and with sand has been taking me to such deep places that I haven't always got to with talking. So it's almost that I have to be so careful not to impose that on a client and to let them know that it's there. And sometimes there's part of me saying, but working with art would really help here, and to offer it, but yeah, not to force the crayons into the hands or something.
I know what's good for you.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Great stuff. I've noticed that both of you have avoided my question of what's hard about working together. So if anything, it may be that there's a complete harmony in your business, and in which case I'm very envious. I wish my partner was into this and was interested in therapy. He does make most beautiful sand trays, but he's not a therapist. So anything that's difficult about living together, working together, anything that gets in the way, any of your flaws that get in the way, if I may ask.
Do you want to start with mine, Charlotte?
With your flaws. I don't have many flaws. Well, you're quite disorganized and a bit chaotic, and very often at the last minute, whereas I'm a real planner and I like to be thoroughly organized. But I think in many ways that works really well. And when we were designing our counselling room, we were the perfect team. That I had the vision and picked all the colours and everything. Fleur just went along with it and made it happen. So I don't know how that is to work with me, Fleur, but I think in terms of my experience of us working together is we really complement, and that the skills that I have, I offer, and then Fleur brings different things. And there's also things that we work together with really well as well. So for me, it's a real strength, and having somebody experienced as a counsellor just there, I think has really given me that confidence to do things that I don't think I would be doing what I'm doing right now if I wasn't married to Fleur.
That's
Thank
quite
you,
cool.
Charlotte. Thank you. So, by the way, this is not couples counseling.
Well,
If it was, I'd charge you. This is a free service to help
yeah,
promote your beautiful imperfections.
beautiful imperfections.
So Fleur, any flaws that Charlotte might have?
I think so what you said about liking to sort of be organized and planned and kind of prepared for things. I think, yes, sometimes that is frustrating for me, because I kind of, don't always have the headspace to kind of do the preparation for it because I just want to get on with it, which can be a blessing and a curse at the same time. But I also see the benefit of it. But yeah, I think sometimes I feel like I just want to get going with something. But I think on the whole, it generally works. And most of the time, you're right, and you've got the best creative ideas. And it's only sometimes when I feel really strongly about something that I'll disagree or offer something else. But it's only when I feel really strongly, because most of the time, I just go along with it, which is why it works, I think. But when I do kind of say, no, this or this instead, then you know that it's kind of all right, okay, we need to maybe compromise.
So it does sound like you're complementing each other really well, and things are quite harmonious, or they have been so far.
I think one of the things that sometimes at different times of the week or the month or the year, that can be a challenge living with and working with sort of spouse as a therapist is the downtime. There isn't, because we're always reflecting and we're always, looking at things and kind of sometimes I just want to not do that.
So you have no life. You just work, work, work.
But I don't know, it just feels like, sometimes I just want to switch off, and it's harder to do that when we're both in the same kind of world.
And especially as well with working online, and Flo might have a supervisee or I might have a client, or we're both doing things at quite strange hours of the day. And Flo's also doing a doctorate as well, so she'll often be sat typing up at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I agree that it spills into everything. And to have that protected time where we're not thinking or not talking about therapy. And it doesn't help that so many of our friends are in this world as well. So yeah, it does spill into everything.
So not having any downtime, or hardly any, and which could be a bit of a recipe for burnout. How does that feel? Either you find that you can get to the edge of burnout, or beyond the edge?
I think I'm quite sort of on the edge generally anyway, but I sort of teeter on the edge. And there's like a balance for me of the adrenaline of doing lots of things and kind of, like really enjoying that. And then when just a couple of extra unexpected things come in, that's when it kind of, I don't leave much space for things unexpected to come along that would then knock me off. And I have literally been really ill with burnout, and been off work, and started my own therapy sort of intensely to kind of work on it. And I think, so maybe 3 years ago, I was in a much more difficult place, I think. And I've got a different relationship with it now. More of a fuck it kind of thing.
It's just okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Thank
I
you.
was just reflecting on how actually the last few years for both of us, we've not yet settled into a routine because I left teaching because I got rheumatoid arthritis, which I think is linked to burnout as well. It's the physical manifestation of that. And this career is supposedly my easier life. And it is in many ways. I have a lot of free time during the day, and I'm fortunate that I can pick and choose when I work and how much I work, and that everything I do is because I really care about it. I'm not doing it just to go through the motions. But I guess I've qualified. We've had quite a difficult last year as well. And then Fleur doing her doctorate. And we've not yet found how the future's meant to be yet. Things haven't fully settled. So yeah, I see it as coming in waves, and also I use creativity to help me regulate. That's been so important for me.
So using creativity whilst it's still maybe connected to your work, that's been a part of self-care for you. Because, well, I'm conscious of it myself because you obviously love your work. You're both working in the same field, and I know how easy it is to get overly enthusiastic, take on a masses of projects because everything is wonderful. You want to try your hand at things, you want to experience different things, you want to be helpful, supportive of people. And I'm wondering whether, because you're doing it together, whether there is a higher risk than usual of kind of over encouraging each other. Does that feel a potential risk, or are you able to notice it in each other and help each other slow down?
I think quite often I'm the one that has the idea and say, let's do this. And then the Fleur helps me put it into practice. So probably we encourage each other more than I really noticed that I wouldn't be doing quite as much as I'm doing without having Fleur to bounce ideas off.
Yeah. And does that potentially increase the risk that things will get a bit over the top and more than is manageable?
Hopefully not. I think I'm sensible enough to pull back on things. Hopefully, and hopefully if not, that Fleur would maybe nudge me if that was the case.
So are you the sensible one, Charlotte?
I'm more cautious sometimes and more sensible, but I'm often the one driving underneath like the ideas, and Fleur's very good at the practical, putting it into action.
And she's the force. Yeah.
Indeed. And I guess with what you were saying there, Masha, about the potential, if we encourage each other, yeah, I do encourage Charlotte, and I also don't need much encouragement myself to take things on and to say yes. But I also, I don't know, I've got a big capacity to do things as well. So yeah, I guess it's something I'm aware of, but I don't really want to think about it because I don't want to stop saying yes to things. And I guess that's probably one of my biggest flaws is not wanting to say no. I can say no, but I'd rather not. Because you know, I can probably do it well or better than other people can do it. That's like an ego thing.
Okay. So
Yeah.
talking about the ego, and that's a subject of particular interest to me. Do you ever feel that you want to come across as kind of wise and experienced and special, and that you do have the answers, even though as a person-centered therapist, you may not overtly offer them to the client, but what's your internal experience of those moments, if you ever have those moments where you feel, I am the one?
I think my sort of my internal kind of screaming, going, ah, if only you could see yourself as I do, if only I could reflect back to you what I really want to say. And I think sometimes, yeah, that's something that I'm aware of in myself. Yeah.
And does that ever let you down? are you ever wrong? Without giving specific examples, obviously to protect confidentiality, but
Yeah.
if you make mistakes and misjudge the
Yeah,
situation.
I think more the misjudgment comes from I'm glad I didn't say anything because it actually is better that the clients figured it out for themselves. Um, yeah.
Mm. And anything for you there, Charlotte? How do you experience your ego coming up?
I think this is something that I've really reflected on in preparation for this, and that my
I think, guys, you're
Really?
over-prepared. You're over-prepared. You're
because
giving all the right answers.
I'm the preparer, and I know about myself that that helps me feel safe and in control if I prepare.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I'm coming from a different place because I am recently qualified and I feel that I should be kind of at the bottom, but also my experience as a teacher, where I was a teacher for 18 years and there was a lot of scrutiny and a lot of observations and the expectation to be perfect and that you would never own up to a mistake. You would never go on a podcast and talk about how you're flawed because that was seen as a real weakness. And then even when I did my training, that in college there was you were being watched and told if you'd done something wrong, so that expectation to be perfect again. And maybe that wasn't intentional, but it's how I felt. And then I remember the first time sitting with the client on my own with no third person observing me and thinking, oh, I can do whatever I want and nobody will know. And I felt this liberation, and that actually let me just be myself. And we were talking last night about how if we do workshops, I'd like to really prepare and be prepared for every eventuality. But with a client, I just walk in and I've not prepared anything and just let them lead. And the liberation with that is so refreshing, it's so lovely. Um, and I was really struggling to think, and we were talking last night. I don't know yet if I've made any really big mistakes or done anything really flawed. And maybe and that feels like an ego thing to say that, to own up that I don't know if I've done anything. And I don't know if that's because I put that pressure on myself to not do that or just because there's not been enough time yet. I'm not sure. And I feel really
Time. Give
uncomfortable.
it time, Charlotte.
I feel really uncomfortable saying that as well, which is interesting.
No, I appreciate you saying what is real for you. And my guess is, certainly my kind of, from my personal experience, when I've made various boo-boos over the years, I didn't have any idea about it. And it might have been years later when I realized my mistakes. And maybe it will be different for you. And possibly working in person-centered way. And I've never done the person-centered training myself. I worked quite directively from the very beginning. So maybe working in a person-centered way does make it safer. But I suspect there may be something to do with your personalities as well that um, that from knowing you a little bit, I can see the humility and the wisdom that comes through. But I would like to hear a little bit more about flaws, since you don't have anything bad to say about each other. I'm forced to ask. Any of your yeah, sorry, sorry.
I've got a confession that I
Okay,
want to make.
okay.
And it's about my timekeeping and also my sort of busyness. And I've actually forgotten a client session and like ended up, I don't know, we had a last minute sort of holiday or something. And then, you know, a client or a supervisee messages and saying, oh, we've got a session today. And I'm like, oh. So, and I've done that more than once. So it's not just a one thing, one time, and then I've learned from it. I've done it more than once. And yeah, sort of a client is kind of when they've got caught up and forgot the time, it actually they felt better because I'd already done it. So yes, I think that's that's my main confession.
Yeah, that's a very squirmy experience. I can somewhat relate
Yeah.
that.
And it's not that they're not important. I just have got, caught up doing something else.
Okay. So now, if your friends, colleagues, your nearest and dearest were to describe your flaws, what would they say?
I think people might say that I like to be in control a lot, and in order to do that, I really work hard and plan first. And sometimes I need to just let things unfold, be more spontaneous.
Okay. So people may think you're a control freak.
Mm.
Mm.
And I also like to be right.
Ah, do you?
And I often am, so that's good.
Great. Thank you, Charlotte. What about you, Fleur? What would people say about you?
I think it's kind of linked to the control, but it's more about I don't very easily allow others to hold space for me because I'm used to holding space for others. So if I go into a training session or, CPD or I don't know, something where somebody else is doing the holding of space, then I really struggle to be vulnerable and to let go.
So it's hard
Um,
to trust.
yeah, because I can usually do it better if I'm honest, or at least equally so. Yeah, so I kind of.
Yeah.
So it's confession number two.
Yeah. Well, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not trusting the others
Mm,
to hold the space. Mm,
yeah.
yeah. But from everything I'm hearing, you do trust each other, which seems like a
Mm,
jolly good partnership in life
mm,
and work. Mm,
yeah. And I
mm.
think we do have enough of our own things that we do as well. So we're not together because I'm in the choir. So I go off to choir practice and do concerts and things. And you go off sort of moon bathing or I don't know what it is, moon rooming. Um,
Room rooming.
Yeah, I've never been moonbathing. But yeah, I have quite a lot of sort of creative pursuits. Uh,
Mm.
and
So, so you get some rest from each other every now and then.
yeah, sometimes we don't see each other all day. We even commented today that, I mean, we are just in different rooms, but up until this point, we'd not really seen each other, and we're quite often busy and just doing our own thing, but always feeling connected as well.
yeah.
Oh, I'm glad I'm providing this opportunity for you two to meet in a somewhat different context. No mood bathing involved. So I'm conscious of the time. We'll take just maybe another couple of minutes.
Oh, it's gone fast.
So, um, so yes, let me just see if there's anything else I want to ask you. Is there anything else you want to tell me that you haven't told me yet about your imperfections or what's hard or what's not as glamorous about being a therapist or counselor as you might have dreamed of when you first started?
I was just reflecting on, and again, this links back to teaching, that as a teacher, you're quite often told it's your job to get these people to pass their exams, or why haven't they got this grade? What have you done to help them? And for me, that feeling that I've got to, actually, I don't have this, but it could be easy to have that feeling that it's my job to fix the client rather than help them fix themselves. And being that person-centered way, I think the training has been so helpful for me to let go of that. But that pressure, or I'm not doing enough to help, and I know sometimes I might offer something creative, partly to maybe to help fix the client, but also because I know how amazing that way of working is. So yeah, I think that's maybe one of my potential flaws, or something to keep an eye on. And I feel so fortunate that I have such a warm and helpful supervisor who I feel can take anything to. And
I thought you were going to say wife then. I'm like, oh.
and wife as well.
Just as an afterthought.
But I think that definitely helps, that if I did, when I do something wrong, when it comes the day that I am flawed enough, I know I'll be able to go to my supervisor with it as well.
Yeah, that's really precious, isn't it? When you can take anything to the supervisor, including the squirmiest and the shittiest bits, if anything shitty happens. So yeah, that is precious. Thank you, Charlotte. Fleur, is anything you would like to add about the hardships of being a therapist and non-glamorous bits?
Yeah, I
Of this
think
work?
just what springs to mind is a student once said to me that I used to I'd always put tutors on pedestals until I met you. So so
Student
so
said to you.
she said that to me. Yeah. Yeah, so it was, their experience was that they'd always put tutors on pedestals until they met me. So I used to think, I guess, that famous people and people who write all the authors that we quote and that there was a pedestal thing for me. But that isn't the case because we're all human. And the more I'm in the world of all of this sort of European wide and, UK wide, the more I'm recognizing that actually we are all flawed human beings, and the more okay with that I am, the more connected I guess I'm able to be with other people who, who are also flawed human beings.
And I guess being person-centered as well, that's really liberating for a client and for your students, that to meet somebody who isn't the expert, who isn't on a pedestal, who gets things wrong or isn't quite glamorous, or who turns up late or forgets the session, that gives them permission to not be perfect as well.
Yeah, definitely.
You mean our clients are human as well?
Who knew?
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, both of you. I've really, really loved this conversation. And to anybody who is listening or watching on YouTube, please like this, please comment on this and spread the word about the wonderful Two Birds therapy. Fleur and Charlotte working together, living together, and being imperfect support for each other and their clients. So thank you so much. I'm going to stop recording now.
Thank you.
Thank you.